God will give you a breakthrough when you deserve it. Let me tell you a story, right? When I was 20 years old, like 19 to 20 years old, I was still in like the college town I was in, and I was partying a lot. I didn't really have much going on in my life, you know? I would party, I would go to the gym, I would play video games somewhat. I didn't have anything that I needed as a man to be successful, you know? And I would always sit there and I would pray at night, and I would ask God like what my next step was, cuz I always knew I had so much potential in my life. I just needed to figure out how to use it. You know, I needed to figure out how to use my potential through God and serve others, cuz you know that's what life is about. You need to be helping others in some area because that's what's going to help you feel fulfilled, you know? So when I was on this journey, I never felt like I was made for my generation. It has always been weird to me. Anytime I would go out, I just like wouldn't really enjoy it too much. I went out. The only time I've ever enjoyed going out was my 21st birthday, and it was because just the vibes were high and nothing bad happened. One of the only times nothing bad's happened. But so anytime I would go out, I just never really felt like it was for me. Maybe you relate, maybe you don't. Either way, it's fine. But what I'm saying is, as I would go out and I would do these things, I felt that it wasn't for me because I felt like I wasn't in alignment with myself, you know? Because for me, all I've ever wanted is just to help people, to love God, live through God, and sacrifice, you know? Because my sacrifices is what will help others, you know? So the biggest thing for me was I had to figure out how to use my life as a vessel for God, you know? And I had to figure out something positive to live through, you know? And I sit back and I would think, and I would be like, what is something that changed my life? What is something that has happened to me that I can make sure won't happen to other people? And that what would always come to my mind would be like my mom passing away, because it was when I was 14. It was in like the most lethal growing stage of my life, because you know from 14 to 16, that's where you really start picking up your personality traits. That's when you start becoming like almost like more of like a grown up, you know? You might get your first car, you might get your first job. It's a very crucial learning spot in your life, you know? And in this area, I had nobody. You know, I absolutely had nobody. I had my stepdad, but I mean, dealing with a loss like that, it's very difficult to almost like keep your family together in a way. Because when such like a big part of your family passes away, and if you've dealt with loss, you know what I'm talking about. It kind of just like takes a piece away, and everyone just becomes kind of like hostile. I've never been a hostile person, and I've always just tried to spread love. But when something like that happens, some people can't take it the right way, and it's very difficult. But anyways, I'm back on track. So when this happened, I remember I would always tell my parents, you know, stop smoking, or like stop, like anytime we go out, like stop drinking. So when my mom finally developed lung cancer, it was kind of just like I didn't blame myself, but I kind of like knew something bad was going to happen at some point, because as a kid I just feel like I've always been able to like almost predict things, like not actually, you know, but like I've always had a very good intuition. I can tell when like certain things are off. So I would always tell my parents like stop like smoking, don't drink, don't do any of these things, because your body is a temple. You have to use it how it's intended to be used, which is to live healthy, to make sure your family's good, to work, just to be a positive vessel of life, you know? So when you're throwing crap into your body like cigarettes, drinking, bad food, processed food, stuff like that, of course it's going to react in a certain way, you know? So I remember in this moment, I remember my mom got the call from the hospital, and that's when like they told her like, hey, you have cancer. And I remember sitting there and I just felt so helpless, because this whole time I felt like I had been, like no one listened to me, you know, like over time I was like, God, like show them the way, make them quit. No one ever listened to me until tragedy happens. And that's a lesson I hope all of you take from this video. If you feel like something's wrong in your life, change it before something bad happens. You don't understand how much time you have on this earth until life flashes before your eyes. You know, you can make change in your life. You don't have to sit there and suffer to addiction, to porn, to vices, cigarettes, alcohol, weed, all that. You don't have to suffer to that. You can change. You know, you can change. So in this area of my life, after that happened, I think she passed away right before I was 15, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So I would go out, drink, smoking. So I had my partying stage pretty early because that happened. I dealt with it very well though. Like I really picked myself up. I dealt with it very well. You know, I didn't like really break down a lot. I kind of just looked at it like, hey, this happened in life, you know, like, but you have to pick yourself up and keep going. And that's important. You can't stay stagnant because where energy flows, energy goes. So if your energy is stagnant, you're not going to be able to level up in any area of your life. So this is what I'm saying to you right now. As I was chasing my better self, you know, I was trying to figure out how I could be useful to God. I was thinking of three things. You know, what can I provide? How can I change someone's life? And how can whatever I do make me happy? You know, so I sit there and thought, and I was like, dang, America is one of the most obese countries on the planet. You know, for some reason, and y'all can probably relate to this, I don't understand why we have certain diet choices that we have. I don't understand why we have certain eating habits. We're the only country with this stuff happening. So I was like, I'm going to make a change. I don't care if it is 1,000 people. I don't care if it's 10,000 people. I'm going to work my hardest to change lives so that does not happen to somebody else. Because I know how bad it can be if you don't know how to handle stuff like that. It would completely tear you down, you know? So God like really picked me up from that state. I seriously believe that. There's been many times in my life I feel like I should have died. I should have died so many times. There was a wreck that happened when I was like 17. We went over a cliff. It was 16, but we went over a cliff, and instead of rolling and flipping down into this like creek, we caught on a rock, and it saved us because we were in an S10. If you know what an S10 is, it's like a tiny truck pretty much. We were in an S10. We got caught on a rock, and it saved us from flipping down that creek and probably getting pretty injured. We had ammo and stuff in the truck. It was crazy. So saved then. Then like last 6 months, the beginning of this year, if you know me, you know. Coming back from a trip, and this car in front of me just straight up hit another vehicle, like on the interstate. It was going like 75. I guess this truck had broke down. We were in the fast lane. My girlfriend was driving, and all of a sudden, like, I literally looked down to check the score because there was a game going on at the time. Next thing you know, airbag goes off. You know, it's just complete chaos. And luckily, I was able to come away with that with like some bruises, and like my leg was a little messed up, but nothing crazy, you know. And we were going 75 direct impact. So God has saved me multiple times, and sometimes I ask myself, like, why am I being used for this? And it's a very simple answer to me. God needs servants on this earth. He needs like people that can speak the word and do positive on earth, because just like there's evil, there's good as well. And it's up to us to be the good on this earth, you know? So that's why I dedicated myself to 100% helping other people change their habits, change their mindset, change their physique, because I know what it's done to me. You know, as I'm sitting here today, I feel like I've really mastered the art of discipline, and I really feel like I've mastered my physique. And I've helped so many people do the same, and it changes their life every single time. You know, so just learning to help others break that barrier and show you like, hey, you don't have to live this way if you don't want to. Hey, you don't have to go out and drink with your bar friends every Friday. You know, if you want a different life, you have to move different. And I think that's important that we all take something from that. So I hope you got something from this video, and I love you guys. Make sure to subscribe. If you want to book some coaching with me, book on Calendly. I look forward to seeing you there.